Coming up on show 538, Tesla's rumoured new battery project, the smart Forfour EV gets a facelift, and the Chinese EV market soars again. Along with those stories, we're talking Ford's MPG ratings and pollution in the USA, costing thousands of lives. Well, good morning, good afternoon or good evening, wherever you are in the world. Welcome to EV News Daily, Wednesday 24th of July 2019 edition. It's Martyn Lee here, and this is what you missed in the last 24 hours. Thank you as always to myev.com for helping make this show the world's first EV marketplace. If you are buying, check out the make and model you want. You get your choices and you take your pick. If you're selling, of course, then you have a ready-made audience of people who are looking to buy your used EV. Best thing about it, it's totally free. Tesla's Q2 earnings are going to be very late at night here, well into the early hours of the morning. So this is Wednesday's show, and then all the details will be tomorrow. But we can take a preview look at where Tesla's come from to get an idea of context for the earnings call. Their second quarter earnings report is going to be a pivotal point for the electric car maker. Prior to quarter two last year in 2018, Tesla had failed to meet every Model 3 production forecast that it had previously announced. Q2 2018 had an adjusted production target of just 5,000 Model 3s a week, but the task had proven to be more difficult than many expected, says a Teslarati report today. Well, the following two quarters last year, following quarter two, saw the challenge at Tesla transition from what Elon Musk would describe production hell into delivery logistics hell. Tesla set records last quarter, Q2 2019, by producing a total number of 87,048 vehicles, but they would deliver more, approximately 95,200, both in the US and other territories. Internationally, we're talking Europe and China. Right-hand drive models have now begun delivering in this country. Other right-hand drive markets not far behind. This quarter's feat was a blow to the pervading bear thesis. Those people that want to see electric cars fail, that there is simply no demand for EVs and certainly no demand for Tesla. That theory was blown out of the water, but I'm sure the doubters will come up with some new some new crazy reasons why EVs won't succeed. Moving on to Smart, and Smart will very soon become an EV-only automaker for all markets. The brand, which is owned by Daimler, remember, will fill its entire lineup with EVs, and the first to come will be a facelifted version of the Forfour electric drive. The spy photo gallery that I saw today on motor1.com depicts the very first photos of the vehicle taken in Germany. Writes Anthony Carr for Motor1. The front fascia will be tweaked, but the modifications are going to be small. Expect to see maybe a revised grille from the style that you've seen already and a reshaped bumper. The Forfour electric drive facelift should probably get some improvements, I would have thought, to the drivetrain, though. The current model has got peak power of 82 horsepower, that's 60 kilowatts, and continuous output of 55 horsepower. Well, thanks to a 17.6 kilowatt-hour battery pack, the small four-seater vehicle can do up to 93 miles on a single charge. That's 150 kilometers, depending on the drive cycle, so expect that battery size to be increased as well as battery technology has improved, densities improved, efficiencies improved, and the price of batteries is going down. Well, this is a problem that EVs just don't face, but Ford are being slapped with a federal lawsuit over allegations that it misrepresented the fuel economy ratings on its 2018 and 2019 F-150 pickup trucks. This lawsuit claims that Ford installed a mileage cheat device that would display overly optimistic economy figures to owners as they drove, Automotive News reports. And according to Roadshow by CNET, the misrepresentation likely stems from a 2017 change by the EPA in the way that emissions tests were administered. You know what, Ford? Just move to EVs as quick as possible. All of this stuff about emissions and MPG, the other automakers that are affected by Dieselgate, just move to EVs. You can draw a line underneath it. Just move to EVs as quick as possible, and you won't have to worry about these kind of things cropping up over and over again. Moving on to Audi. And Audi is adding the Q3 Sportback compact SUV in a coupe shape to its model range. For the market launch in Europe, a gas and diesel engine is going to be available. Additional engines are going to follow over the course of this year with a more powerful diesel and an entry-level petrol engine, which will be a 48-volt mild hybrid system. Well, this is how it works in cars like the Audi when they've got their 48-volt mild hybrid. During deceleration, it recovers energy. During acceleration from low speeds, it then supports the engine. Well, in real-life driving, they say it can save up to 0.4 litres of fuel for every 100 kilometres travelled. That's 62.1 miles travelled. Moving on, and after a slow May with just 2% growth, we saw the Chinese plug-in vehicle market return to full charge thanks to 147,000 registrations last month in June. That's up 72% year over year, says Jose Pontes for Clean Technica today. Well, full electric vehicles, we would call them BEVs. In China, everything gets lumped under the NEV name, NEV, New Energy Vehicle. Well, full battery electric vehicles grew faster than anything else, 97% increase year on year. And because the mainstream car market in China is still in free fall, down 8%. June's plug-in vehicle share actually got to a record 8.5% in China now, pulling the market share of plug-in cars well above the 2018 overall result. Starting on June 26th, new energy vehicle subsidies were cut off completely for vehicles that couldn't do any more than 250 kilometres of electric range. Those with higher range saw the subsidies halved. That's going to have a big impact on the Chinese market. Having a closer look at June's top 5 selling cars, by the way, the cars that sold best in China last month, number 1, the BAIC EU series. In second place, the Chang'an Iado EV. In third place, the BYD Yuan EV. That's the one that has a 58 kilowatt hour battery pack. They say it does 255 miles, but remember, in China, measuring it on the old NEDC range, which is hopelessly optimistic. Number 4, here's one you'll recognise. The Tesla Model 3 was the 4th best-selling in June. And in 5th position, the Chery EQ. Didn't mention NIO in there, but NIO is certainly a very interesting car maker to talk about in China. The NIO ES6, about a year after landing on the landing of the trailblazing ES8. And now comes the ES6. The ES8 is a full-size SUV, and now NIO's launched their version of the Model Y, the ES6. Got 2 battery sizes. You can have your choice of a 70 kilowatt hour or an 84 kilowatt hour. The mid-size SUV is rated again at 410 or 510 kilometers range. But again, it's China, NEDC. Don't believe a word of that. So maybe that is between 180 and 240 kilometers of miles of real-world range. It's a little on the low side for an 84 kilowatt hour pack. Well, what about NIO's battery swapping technology? Yes, that is indeed being used. Top Gear website has the lowdown on how it works. Though the 24-hour manned stations always have somebody on hand to help, the process is actually entirely automated. Once Mr. NIO Man has manoeuvred your car into place, he goes into his little booth and prods a few buttons. Your car is then shuffled into place, lifted in the air, the battery's unscrewed, and a new, totally fully charged one is fitted. The whole process to do a battery swap takes less than 10 minutes. And costs the equivalent of about 20 UK pounds. Each station contains 5 batteries at any one time, and they can service 70 cars a day. Do you think battery swapping is a worthwhile thing to pursue? Let me know your thoughts about any of the stories on today's podcast. You can email me hello@evnewsdaily.com or leave a comment on Facebook and YouTube. I'm personally not convinced with battery swapping. I was a few years ago, but now the Model 3, you can plug that in on a V3 supercharger, 15 minutes, get a couple hundred miles of range. I don't know if you need to be taking out the battery pack from your car, but NIO have certainly got a load of these, by the way, on 3 of the main routes in China and in the big cities as well. Talking Tesla, talking batteries, Tesla's rumoured to be working on some sort of battery factory in Indonesia, according to comments made by a local official and reported by Electrek today. Local news in Indonesia, they say, is reporting that the country's Maritime Affairs Coordinating Minister, Luhut Binsar Panjaitan, is stating that Tesla is among several companies looking to build battery manufacturing facilities in Indonesia's Morowali Industrial Park, that is in central Sulawesi. CATL, which is the largest battery manufacturer of EVs in China, is in advanced stages of the project, but LG and Tesla are involved as well, according to the official. It would certainly make sense for Tesla to have some battery production technology there in Asia. Well, moving on to why I make this podcast, really. Maybe one of the reasons why you listen to this, maybe not, but pollution is one of the things that really we need to address, and we need to have an open, honest conversation about it. And even though levels of PM 2.5 are lower in the USA than the national ambient air quality standards are allowing, pollution still costs thousands of lives. A new study has suggested, according to the air quality news website, this study was published in the journal PLOS Medicine magazine, and it analysed what was publicly available data to directly estimate the number of deaths by age group and sex, and the loss of life expectancy because of PM 2.5 levels in the USA. As well as the benefits of reductions since 1999, researchers found that PM 2.5 pollution in excess of even the lowest observed concentration was responsible in the USA alone for 30,000 deaths. The life expectancy loss because of PM 2.5 was largest around Los Angeles and in southern states like Arkansas, Oklahoma, Alabama, but 30,000 deaths a year because of PM 2.5 pollution. What is it though? Particulate matter is PM. Particulate matter is a term used to describe the mixture of solid particles and liquid droplets in the air, really. Within towns and cities, emissions from PM 2.5 from road vehicles are the main source. Consequently, levels of PM 2.5 close to roadsides are often much higher than those in other locations. Exposure to high concentrations of this type of pollution can exacerbate lung conditions, heart conditions. They significantly affects the quality of your life. It increased deaths and hospital admissions and all of the associated emotional cost and actual financial cost of hospital treatment. Children, the elderly, those with predisposed respiratory and cardiovascular disease are known to be more susceptible to health impacts from air pollution. Our children who are, when they are their youngest and we have them in pushchairs, we put them at the same height as exhaust pipes. When they're small lungs are developing, their tissues are growing. It's when they're most vulnerable, and we choose to put them in tiny little chairs on wheels and push them alongside main roads at the level of exhaust. They're literally putting their mouth up against exhaust pipes, and none of this makes any sense. It's why we must move to EVs and clean, green, sustainable transport as quick as possible. And for the 30,000 people every single year in the USA who die prematurely because of particulate matter pollution. I'm going to pop links to those scientific studies in the show notes if you want to read more. Right, moving on to our question of the week this week. Keep your comments coming in. What's the most constructive way to stop a charger being iced? Let me know your constructive ways. Let's not talk about blowing their car up, but how can we constructively stop EV chargers having fossil gobblers parking in them? You can email me, hello@evnewsdaily.com, or leave a comment on Facebook and YouTube. Well, thank you to the 235 patrons of the podcast. Your generosity means that I get to make this show. There's many ways that people support podcasts. I found a new one today called Podfan. There's one called Glow.fm. I use Patreon. It's no different to any of the others, but lots of people use Patreon. Lots of people support other creators as well. And, well, you can just pop your card details in. They look after all of that side of it and the payment, and it's all fully secure. And then the people who create content, well, they get paid for that. Thank you to Phil Roberts from Electric Future, Brad Crosby and Avid Technology. By the way, this podcast will always be free. The entire archive is online for free. That's where the Patreon money goes, a chunk of it anyway. There are 536 previous shows. 537 previous shows online for free. If you want to get your podcasts, the new ones, first and free and automatically, hit that subscribe button. If you can leave a review on Apple, not called iTunes, Apple Podcasts, it really helps me out, by the way. And if you little star rating, whatever you think this podcast is worth, that would be amazing. In the meantime, come and say hi on the socials by searching EV News Daily. Have a wonderful day. I will catch you tomorrow with all of those Tesla results. And remember, there is no such thing as a self-charging hybrid.